At 4 wins apiece, one would assume T and Shimon would be close on points, but the fateful race at the Nürburgring put Tomas on the back foot. Nearly a win's worth in points must be made up if he hopes to claim another championship. Will Road America start him on that journey, or will Andy T begin to seal the deal on his first crown? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 9 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Peter Mackay. Behind the scenes is our director, Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Road America tends to be a popular one among all classes of racing. Let's head down to our track guide to find out why. Welcome to Road America. Nicknamed America's National Park of Speed, it's easy to see why just by looking at how the track is laid out. Long straights are a major feature, and drivers will build up incredible momentum before they find themselves interrupted by tight 90-degree corners. In fact, for a 4-mile circuit, it has shockingly few turns. It also has little in the way of variation in layouts. The main course is only broken up once with a single chicane added in the bend version. But don't take this to mean that it's a boring track. Elevation change happens many times over a lap, with a few places taking you into corners which are quite blind. But 2 of the turns on the back half of the course are perhaps the most distinctive. One is the carousel with its more than 180-degree radius. It just feels like it never stops. The other is the kink. Terrifyingly fast with very little runoff, it can end someone's race in a flash. As you'd expect, the heavy braking zones make for some ideal overtaking spots. Turn 5 sees plenty with its downhill entry. The hurried downs can offer drivers a chance at a sneak attack if you're brave, and then Canada Corner gives you one last shot before the lap is over. It's no wonder major organizations such as IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, and the SCCA all host major races here. All in all, many drivers rate this track as the best track in North America. Many who hop in the seat and try it can quickly understand why. Well, Peter, it may not have seen Formula One, but it's had IndyCar here for a number of years. So what do you think it's going to be like with these old open wheelers?
Well, Road America really is one of the most special circuits anywhere in North America, based in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, 4 miles in length, and one of the very few circuits that still remains on its original layout since 1955. All of the top series have come here, but I always enjoy the annual IndyCar visit, and with these Lotus 79s, you're going to see some really good examples of how that ground effect aerodynamics can really have a good effect. Some of the quicker turns around the back part of the circuit should be absolutely thrilling for us to watch and for the drivers on board.
No doubt about that. Speaking of those drivers, let's take a look at their championship, because I mentioned it in the start, and there it is. 52 points up to Andy T from Shimon. Seppa is the only one that has a drop week, interestingly, among all the drivers in this championship, or at least dropping points, I should say, as everybody else has at least missed one. Gernot Friesche in a close fight with him. He's been kind of in and out in terms of his performances each and every week, and Andreas Henkel rounding out the top 5. Peter, you've got the updates on the team's championship.
I do indeed. At the moment, it's still Parmalat Racing Team Brabham of Gernot Friesche and Andreas Henkel leading by 31 points over Tamas Simon and Coriani for Scuderia Ferrari. In third is the Albalad Saudia Racing Team Williams, with Martini Racing Team Lotus in fourth, and my favourite team, the beer team, Warsteiner Arrows Racing Team in fifth.
And of course, for our race details, real quick here, we have a 22-lap event in round 10. It is an open setup series, so anything that could be done to the Lotus 79 in real life can be done here in the sim for the drivers to try and find as much speed and comfort as they can. There's some incident limits, including a drive-through at 17 and a full disqualification at 25. Not really expecting that to be as much of an issue at a track like Road America, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Right now, we're waiting on the first lap times to come through from our drivers. It's such a long lap that even in F1 machinery, they're only partway through the first flyer.
Yeah, our lap times are going to be around 2 minutes here at Road America, but we're going to ride on board here with Andy T, our championship leader, coming down towards turn 5. You can see how much room he uses on the entry there. Good overtaking opportunity there into turn 5. It tightens up for a few corners after that, so if you get a move done there, you can get it done on the brakes. Through turn 6, then up towards turn 7, and down what they call hurry downs. I think it's because there's, now correct me if I'm wrong here, Joe, is it because there's a horse racing track just on the right there?
I've never actually heard that one. I've always heard that it's because there's a slight drop in elevation down. You hurry down into turn 8, essentially. That's what I've always heard.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, though. That's what I've heard.
Well, we're now coming up to the scariest corner on the track, the kink, where this is where back in the Champ Car days in 2006, Catherine Legg had a horrendous accident there, going off and hitting the wall. As you can see, it's very close to the edge of the circuit. Thankfully she was okay, but a fast one and a scary one. And then into Canada Corner, and I'll never forget that when Robin Liddell overtook someone around the outside at Canada Corner in the wet in a Camaro. That's what you get when you hire a Scotsman.
Of course, that's who'd be able to do it. As we watch T come up the line, he's going to get a lap about the same time as Shimon. Tomasz, doesn't set his. He has an off track somewhere on his first lap, but T puts in a 150.8. That's provisional pole for the time being, but we still have a lot of drivers yet to come across. It is going to be a little bit slippery, I figured, today, Peter. I was looking at the temperatures, and it might be up in the northern part of the states, but I can tell you from the Midwest, this seems pretty typical for this area of the country.
Hopefully it won't affect the drivers too much. Hopefully they can get down to business. Now, Gernot Fritsch, his Achilles heel, has really been qualifying this season. He's had very good race pace, but hasn't been able to get the grid position to capitalise on that. Let's see what he can do here today at Elkhart Lake. A 151.450. That's 4th position right now. That's much more like it.
Absolutely. So that seems a little more representative of what we're used to seeing out of him, but we've gone back to Simone, still looking for him to get that first time lap in. He's really only got this one chance, as they get 2 laps to set their quickest. After that, it's just laps for practice if they want him, and none of them will count. So he comes down through the kink, flying through at 160 miles an hour here in qualifying, absolutely reaming this thing out and then slamming onto the brakes down into Canada Corner. Just 3 more corners to go here for the number 2. He's got to get himself at least on the board, but hopefully up towards the front.
You've got to think that not having that lap time on the board on lap 1 is just going to I'd give that little bit extra caution. No, maybe not. Stellan Simone using every last inch of the track on the way out. He comes to the line in the number 2 car. What is it going to be? It looks like it's going to be a quick one. 150.638. That puts Tomasz Simon second on the grid by 4 thousandths of a second from Andy T, who clips him just at the last moment.
Wow. T, the second lap for him was crucial, but we're still waiting on a few to come through. This is Hankel. We saw he was 5th in the points. At times he's up towards the front. Right now he's not, with only an 11th place. So as he flies towards the line, what's this one going to be? A 51.6. That will put him a little close to the top. Actually, only 10th. Wow, it is actually incredibly tight through the field. There is a second splitting the top 11.
Wow, you can tell this is the top split, can't you? Let's get Michael De Turco over the line. See what he can do. He's got a 151.5 at the moment. Can he break that marker? He's 8th on the grid right now. Pretty good position, but can he improve? Over the line he goes. 151.366. He does improve. Goes up to 7th.
Just a few more that have a chance to try and complete their qualifying. Pablo Suarez, the next one in the number 14, sits in 16th position. Remember, that pole is worth 2 bonus points. So right now, Andy T already getting a little bit of an edge there over Tomasz before the race even starts. And to the line, a 52.2 for Suarez will put him into 14th. After that is nobody else, it appears. Everybody is done with their qualifying. That means it's time for the grid. So up on the top spot. Andretti with those 2 bonus points will start next to Tomas Simon. It'll be Timo Väskälänpi who starts in third, followed by Seppa in P4. Gernot Friesche returning to the fray with 5th position, followed by Tolinen in P6. Watch out for Jukka. He tends to like a low downforce car. Michael de Turk starts in 7th with Fabrizio Maisani in 8th. Uwe Trangerade starts 9th. And rounding out the top 10, you've got Alessandro Parigi.
Starting on the 6th row of the grid here today at Road America will be Andreas Henkel and Peter Konecki. Row 7 will be Timothy Reed and Pablo Suarez, followed by Barry West, Miguel Alcalde, Antti Kerinen, Julian Martinez-Pastor and Laus Olsen round out our 19-car grid.
That should take us out to the grid now as they start to work their way and plop their cars in their starting position. Again, this is round 10 out of 12, late in the season. They do get some drop weeks, so that will help Tomasz later on, but he cannot count on anything. He has got to start beating Andy T to try and use whatever he can to overtake him in the points to get back-to-back championships. Again, this is top split. For those not familiar with iRacing, we have a simultaneous race with other drivers that signed up for this time slot, but they're down there because of their iRating. These are considered the quickest drivers in this group that are being put together to compete. And as we mentioned, it looks severely tight up at the front between the top runners. So expect some intense battles, maybe even some strategic battles with the slipstreams we often see at this track with long straights. T and Seppa are the last that we're waiting on. They've got a few more seconds before they're expected to get out on the grid, and then we go racing for 22 laps here in the Midwestern United States at Road America. They're definitely giving it some time. There you can see the temperatures that we mentioned, 112 Fahrenheit on the track surface today. Hopefully they've got the setup ready for a hot track, 44 Celsius for those of us using metric. And again, waiting until the very last moment for T and Seppa. They got about 10 seconds to go now. Seppa's out there. Where is T, our pole sitter? Now he is on the grid. That is all 19 vehicles. The engines start to rev as the lights come up. What's the start going to be like? Green flag is out. T not looking very good in the initial stages. Simon starts to pull up alongside him. He's got the overlap top 3 with a huge jump over the rest of the field, though. Into the first corner, Simon around the outside. Can he steal the lead away? Doesn't find the grip. Everybody behind except for one car off looks good.
Really brave there from Andy T, really just toughing it out there, and Thomas Simon having to back out of it at the last moment. Of course, Thomas Simon there running the Ferrari livery, which, of course, Phil Hill won the first ever race here at Road America in a Ferrari. So will that be a good omen today? Well, this is what we're going to watch out for here. Turn 5, and you can see, look at that, Andy T going defensive there, knowing that it's vulnerable going in.
Seppa and Friesche fighting for that 4th position as well. Looks like Friesche is going to come out ahead. It was Parigi and Pastor that had the incident down into turn 1, but I think both look like they just went off on their own. We'll look at it later, see if we can figure out what happened. A few of them really taking liberties off at turn 7 into the hurry downs.
Yeah, they're pushing, and when the tires are cold, you've really got to be quite careful with this car because it's got a huge amount of horsepower, very lightweight, and the engine is, well, it's a thoroughbred race engine. It's friendly, it is not. When you ask for the power, it gives you all at once, and it's up to you to control it. And look at that, what a brilliant shot from our producer Ryan Bauer, absolutely sideways around the kink, fantastic.
Very single file, though, for the first time through the Kettle Bottoms and into Canada Corner. In fact, I don't see a single car making an attempt into there. So maybe everybody thinking about the long haul here while they've got the slipstream of those ahead. That 3-car breakaway up to the first turn was already reeled in by Friesche back and forth. Completing the first lap, everybody able to get around the track on that one, thankfully. But now we settle in.
Interestingly, Andy T going to a very defensive line there, going down the front straightaway, but Thomas Simon not following him in the draft. So that's interesting. So he's obviously pretty comfy sitting there right now. He's right on the gearbox of Andy T. And it's almost a little bit of mind games there, Joe, because he's thinking, yeah, you can move, but I don't need your draft. I'm that quick. Well, a bit of funny games going on here. Andy T weaving around on this circuit, so clearly feels like he's under threat here. And look at Simone just blowing by on the straight, hard on the brakes into turn 5. Can he make it stick? This is going to get very tasty indeed. And Andy T will have the inside. No, he won't. Thomas Simone has got the move done, Joe.
Wow, braver on the brakes. T nearly slid into him, but managed to keep it from making contact. Almost looked like maybe T knew he wouldn't have the top speed compared to Tomas. Whatever the case, it looked easy for the number 2, just catching up and getting a nose ahead into the carousel. Can Tomas start to really pull away from here, or is T going to be able to reel him back in and fight back?
That's quite interesting. I think that maybe Andy T might be running a bit more drag to Thomas Simon, because going around the carousel there, Andy T was much quicker, closed in a couple of car lengths. But it's going to be a hard day for Andy T. If Thomas Simone's got that car trimmed down to get good straight line speed, it is going to be really difficult. But let's see how it plays out for the next couple of laps. But through the twisties, seems that Andy T's got the measure of Simone.
Parisi's on a climb back through just past Karenin down into Canada corner, so try to make some inroads on his mistake early on. We also had a spin with Laust Olsen, who went off in Canada corner. Up and into turn 1 yet again. Yeah, T not really gaining. There was a little blink from Simone on my screen. Not sure if he's having some connection problems.
No, that's not what you want to see, and it certainly won't be what Andy T wants to see, because it makes it really tricky to place your car in the right position, because it can just make it a little bit more unpredictable. But riding on the helmet cam with Andreas Henkel running the very recognisable, iconic helmet design of 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher.
Okay, he's trying to reel in my Sonny in 8th. He's going to take a little bit of a look, but doesn't have a serious go at him into turn 5. They got to watch out, because that is Trangarade behind him. We know he likes to have a good battle, so he won't be shy about getting involved if he sniffs something.
No, definitely not. Ovi Trangarade, of course, one of the stalwarts of the Grand Prix Legends series we have here on the Global SimRacing Channel every Saturday. And now with the slicks and wings, as we like to say, on the Lotus 79. What amazing what 10 years of development can do as they float around the carousel. And that is for me, it's got to be one of the most special corners anywhere in the world, because I don't really know of any car where it's completely flat out. Maybe a modern day Formula 1 car would be, but you still have to just balance your throttle input just perfectly. It's a really special corner, the carousel.
Henkel's going to get him, but he goes a little deep into the corner. He's off it fine. So Fabrizio gives up the 8th place to Andreas, and already look at Trangarade kind of sizing him up. He's going to have a good shot at it into the final corner and onto the main straight. Here we go.
Well, let's get a look then to see what the drivers are working with in terms of a draft. Looks like Uwe Trengarade's got into the draft now of Messani, sets up his move, pulls out of the draft, and has he hit an invisible wall of air? Yes, he has, but he's later on the break and moves through into 9th position. Great move from the Scandinavian.
2 positions within a lap for Fabrizio. That's not a good sign for him. He started in 8th, so he has gone down from where he began this whole thing. Up at the front of the field, Simone is pulling a little bit away from Andy T. And in fact, the battle becoming slightly more weighted towards Vascalampi and Friscia behind them to determine 3rd.
Great to see Timo Vascalampi back running at the front where he belongs here in the Lotus 79 series. Such a strong driver, and I tell you what, he's still in touching range there of Andy T, our championship leader. And interesting one for Andy T, because he's got a pretty healthy championship advantage. So I guess he's in the luxurious position where, you know, second would be fine. But for Thomas Simone, it's the other way around. He can't do anything else other than win if he wants a chance at this championship.
Already 4 laps into this event, and still that top group not really able to battle one another, it appears. So I think you're right. Looks like the slipstream not offering a whole lot. We were talking about that a bit before the race came live. We're on board with the Turk now, who's in the second group behind them. He's trying to chase Tolinen. And we talked about the history of Tolinen too, that he loves to trim this car out. Let's see how quick he is.
If you'll remember, but Bathurst last season when Jukka Tolinen was running the Renault livery, the yellow and black colours, and he had the car so trimmed out, and I can't remember who it was trying to get past him, but they just couldn't do it because he was so fast in a straight line. And actually looking at that down the front straight there, Joe, didn't seem like the Turk pulled much ground out of him in the draft.
No, certainly not. I did check. He was faster than Seppa in front of him, but didn't seem to be able to close that gap as much as he wanted. I think it was Kochi that he had that fight with, I seem to recall. In the meantime, we come down through the Moraine sweep and into turn 5 once again, one of the more popular places to overtake. Nobody popping their nose out amongst these top 6 for the time being.
Underneath the Corvette bridge as well, really tricky corner there because the car gets very light and you're trying to get it to slow down, hit the brakes, and especially with these cars with no anti-lock braking, it's quite easy to lock up into there as well, which is not what you want to be doing. You can easily spike the tyre temperature, and of course with this excessively high track temperature, it's going to be really difficult for the drivers because that high track temperature just makes the surface so greasy and slippy. You can see, look at that, Michael de Turk having to chop around on the wheel, and these cars move around quite a bit anyway, Joe, but with these super high track temperatures, well, it's going to be really tough.
A lot of yaw as they go through the kink too. We're on board with the Turk, who's not been able to catch up to Tolinen quite yet. We're looking for that good exit off of Jukka at some stage to try and challenge Seppa in front of him. But maybe he trimmed a little bit too much out of it, and it doesn't seem like he's able to get close enough to attack. And wonder if that's in the corners. Oh, he is actually maybe vulnerable to the Turk here. He's only 2/10 behind as they came off the final corner.
Well, this is the chance for Michael de Turk, because if he can get that track position, then he can defend from there and can try and pull away in the corners. But I think once again, Tolinen's got a bit of a dragster on the straight because it wasn't a very good exit of turn 14 for Tolinen, but still de Turk not able to gain any traction. So this is fascinating, and this is what I love about an open setup series like we have here in the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Championship, because you could have the car absolutely raked up and loads of downforce, so you're really fast through the corners but slow on the straight, or the other way around. You've got that complete freedom to play about with it as you want, and of course changing every single gear individually as well.
Switching back to Andy T, you can see that half-second distance up to Simone. The interesting thing that I find out of Tomasz managing to get up to the lead this quickly is we haven't had a repeat winner back-to-back races yet this season. T and Simone just keep trading it back and forth, and someone else pips in every once in a while. If Simone wins, that trend will continue.
That's a very good stat. I like that one, Joe. That's a very good stat indeed. You know what my favourite stat is that Johnny Dumfries, the late great Johnny Dumfries, Scottish racing driver, won here in 1987 in IMSA in a Porsche 962.
Of course it would be a Porsche win with you.
And Scottish.
Yes, always. As yeah, and I really think that's a testament to this track, not just being popular here over in the States, but worldwide. The history that it has with some of the greatest drivers all around. Tolinen this time still towing along to Turk. I've been watching every time, and Jukka is always about 3 miles an hour quicker than Seppa in front of him, but he's always so far away coming off that last turn. As speaking of fast, Andy T setting another fastest lap from second place as he tries to reel in our leader. We come up to him now. He's brought it down to 0.3 of a second, but a little bit of wiggle off of turn 3 is going to scupper his hopes.
I have to say, I do like Andy T's sort of Flash Gordon-esque helmet and overalls that he's got there. Very, very cool. Mind you, not as cool as Carroll Shelby, who won in a Ferrari 121 LM here at Road America in 1956. In fact, he lapped the entire field, bar 2, in his Texas tuxedo, or chicken overalls if you prefer.
And I think Frecia just managed to get into third past Vascalampi. That is one that has been worked on for multiple laps. This happened down into turn 5. I'm not sure if we can grab a replay of this one. Seeing if we've got it here. Yeah, here, this is him setting it up. This is perfect. Down into turn 3. I'm guessing he's just going to get himself a nice launch. Look at how close he is already, Peter. And let's see if we get a defense from Timu. He's holding off on the racing line. Oh, kind of drifts over. There it is. There's that Pruitt fade.
That's it, yeah. Scott Pruitt special there. Do you think Temo is going to say hello to the family at home in his interview?
I mean, if he can get that many words out of a Finn. So as they come back to the line once more time, still Simone leading T, now Frecia in third, and Vascalampi in fourth. No change behind them, at least temporarily. Getting close to the halfway mark, though. No pit stops expected in these races. This is just a run from start to finish, at least scheduled pit stops for these drivers, as we once again glance at the perspective from atop Michael de Turk's roll bar.
And this is why I love it again about the Lotus 79, as we see lap times just tumbling throughout the race. The tyres are pretty resilient, so you've still got good lap time left in them right at the end. And of course, these Cosworth DFV V8s, they burn fuel at an extraordinary rate, a proper Grand Prix engine, and therefore the weight of the car comes down quite dramatically. So that's one of my favourite things about this series, Joe, is those last few laps, the drivers in the lead go on a bit of a time attack, and Thomas Simone, we've seen him do that a few times with some fastest laps on the very last lap.
There's the comparison between them, and does look like T is starting to bring him back in. A side update to Pastor, Julian Martinez Pastor has actually had a big wreck out of the Bill Mitchell Bend, but it was many laps ago, so I'm not sure we'll be able to get a replay of that one. He's our first and only DNF so far, while we have seen Laust Olsen in pits taking some repairs and returning to the track. He actually might get lapped before this is over, as things getting a little tight now between T and Simone. We saw him pulling him back to him. Does he have the pace, though, to try and actually attack and overtake?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It seems that Andy T's just that little bit better in the inner part of the circuit through the curves, but Simone's just got that advantage on the straight. Can Andy T negate that advantage? I think he's got to run now. Here's a chance. He's got to go for it. He's got to go for it and try and back the pace up, I think. Fastest lap of the race for Andy T. Goes to the inside. That's very, very late. Oh, my goodness me. They do very well not to bang wheels, and Simone hangs on for now. But there you go, Joe. Andy T not interested in sitting there.
That was absolutely incredible. Nothing between them, and now Simone is giving Andy a bit of his own medicine, trying to weave back and forth to break the slipstream. But once again, Andy given the inside by Tomas. He seems to like to try and get the launch off the corner as they weave through. It proves successful once again. The 2 is going to retain first, as T is going to have to try something else.
Fantastic motorsport from both of these drivers as well. Normally, well, turn 1, that would have resulted in an enormous accident usually, but these guys are so good, and because they race with one another quite a lot, they know each other's style well, and they're sizing each other up very well too. This is really thrilling to watch. And yeah, I think this is the part of the circuit where Andy T just has that slight edge on Simone through the fast corners. But the thing is, though, Joe, is that he can't get too close to Simone, because the dirty air coming out of Simone's car is not allowing Andy T to get that last bit of grip that he needs.
Down indicated a corner. He's starting to get closer, but he runs out of straightaway. Now, can he keep this tight enough for the front stretch? It looked like there was a bit of a slide coming through that right-hander. Another big slide coming over Bill Mitchell Bend that he has to catch, and this may have cost him the chance that he wanted. Let's see, is this going to be close enough?
It seems there that Simone got a pretty good exit out of the final corner at turn 14. Can T grab a few extra car lengths? He's getting there. And that's fascinating. It almost seems that Thomas Simone has got the edge on acceleration, but actually runs into the... Is he running into the rev limiter at the end of the straight? It seems that T's just got a few more revs in that top gear.
Wonder if he was just close enough in the slipstream that it was just enough to affect this time. Oh, he's close once again. Only a quarter of a second between them through turn 3. This time Simone's not weaving as much. Oh, but he comes back to the racing line. And as they break down hard into 5, no change of position. But again, we don't have strict F1 rules here. They can do what they want as long as they are not considered blocking the other car and trying to react to cover off their path. You can just pick your racing line, and then as they work their way through, as long as they get through the corner clean, all is hunky-dory. Down through the hurry downs, we've jumped back to the fight between Seppa, Tolanen, and Turk, which has not changed spots since we last looked.
Interesting, this race here really does tell the story of the season. Thomas Simone and Andy T both kind of in their own little exclusive club of 2, where they've just been that little couple of percent better than the rest of the field all season long. And sometimes when we've seen both drivers, or sorry, one of the drivers in the race, the other one not present, it's been quite obvious that that's the case. So this is amazing to watch these guys duel it out. And a circuit like Road America, you can set up overtaking manoeuvres. It's such a good racetrack for this sort of sport.
I was going to say, this is probably some of the least overtaking I've seen at this place here today. Tomas is going to get another run down the straight, but T might have a slightly faster one, and it's not enough. We had a spin. I'm not sure. I don't think we've got time because these two are just fighting so close, but just to update, Ove Trangrade lost a lot of spots. He's down to 16th. That happened in the carousel. He gets the car going without hitting anything. Oh, I think T was a lot closer coming around turn 3 that time.
And they've got a bogey coming up. Laust Olsen in 18th position. Here goes T. He's got right alongside. This is surely going to be enough. Simone goes very late on the brakes, but can T pull off the block pass?
Oh.
They touch wheels. Goodness me. And T makes his way through. And Thomas Simone has to give best. Now, can he respond to Andy T, or can T pull away? This is fascinating stuff.
I think the politeness starting to go out the windows as the elbows are getting out. T having to sort of edge Simone off the track to get that lead away from him. But last time Simone took it away very early on in the race. So will he have a much easier time overtaking T, or will this be similar to what we saw the 3 trying to do?
Do you think Tomas is going to take a leaf out of Andy's book?
Oh, yes. Oh, I think that was just the start of this that we watched, as we are exactly halfway now through this event. Or, you know, the other potential thing, you mentioned the lapped car of Olsen. I wonder if he'll use him as a pick.
Oh, well, that's what you can do with that lap traffic as well. We'll see. Laust Olsen's pretty experienced, so he'll see them coming. He'll know they're coming. I would imagine he'll, especially with the straight coming up here, he'll give them the opportunity to get by. Looking back from Laust Olsen's car, has he seen them? Of course, no headlight flasher button, no headlights to flash on these cars.
They can't stick their arms out of the window quite yet to wave at them. So Andy T is not going to be overtaken this time. So it does look like Simone is going to have to work a little bit harder than what we saw before. Olsen's aware. There we go. Nicely done pulling aside. Another little blink from Simone in the meantime.
Well, this has got to be Thomas Simone's chance to retaliate here. This is where he made the move for the lead in the first place, down towards turn 5. He's right in the draft of Andy T. Where is T going to defend? And a little bit of a blink out there for Simone, but T just hangs on for now.
So 2 lead changes thus far in today's race as we once again turn our attention to Turk, Tolanen, and Seppa. And Severi managing to fend both of them off. They've also got Andreas Henkel back there. Remember, he lost a few spots he's gained a few spots, rather, I should say. He's been on a charge because he started in 11th. He's up to P8. I wonder if his qualifying wasn't quite representative. And I'm going to kind of keep an eye to see if he continues to run them down.
So Jukka up into the top 6 right now, and I was surprised that we would be seeing traffic as an issue right now, but Lars Olsen's just not having that good a day at the office at the moment, and they're quite a long way up to Antti Keränen. He's in 17th position right now, 30 seconds off the leader, so plenty of gap. So lap traffic shouldn't be much of an issue for these drivers. I was looking at some of the iRatings, Joe, today. The lowest seed driver in this race, iRating 2,700.
Which means I probably would have barely squeaked into there, though I probably would have been lapped a lot quicker than some of these guys.
I'd be watching on GSRC.
Andy T held off Simone. He was right underneath the gearbox that time. Let's see if he can get a better launch off of 3. Where we see some weaving back and forth once again. So far, not yet, but also not gaining all that much. Simone starts to feel it, and as he pokes his nose to the inside, they hit the braking for turn 5. This has all been happening about roughly 4 seconds ahead of Gernot Friesche. Ever since he took that 3rd place, he's not dropped it, but he's also not been gaining on those front pair.
I'm sure Friesche and Vascalampi, the old sparring partners, will be enjoying having an on-track battle together. They've had so many of them over the years here in the Lotus 79 Grand Prix series. I remember my first ever time commentating on this series at VIR last year, and Teemu and Gernot had one of the most classic battles I've seen. It was just superb. I think it went in the favour of Gernot eventually, what a thriller it was.
We got to go up to T because he's under threat right now. And Simone looks around the outside down, and he gets him to outbrake himself. Over, under, look at that. Tomasz Simone shakes and jives him.
He's pulled off the Robin Liddell there. Goodness me, Tomasz Simone, dearie me. This is just how high a level we're dealing with here. So far ahead on track of an already very high class field, down Kettle Bottoms, down towards Canada Corner, and T goes right across to defend, and just in doing so misses his braking point, and that allows Simone to go by. This is not over.
This is high level stuff is what it is. The sorts of things that we're having to see out of them just to get the overtakes done. Some of them taking multiple corners, or really heady stuff as we once again look back at the Turk now that front 2 have spread apart. And wow, where did Seppa go? Look up ahead of them. He's now a second and a half away from Jukka Tolvanen. So this has gone from a 3 to a 2-car fight.
Yeah, it's a very Seppa being able to just lay down the pace in that beautiful old classic Williams livery with Fly Saudia Airlines. Give me the Brabham Parmalat any day though. Nice, the world's fastest yogurt.
Oh, and looking once again at Vascalampi and Friesche, you said these two are used to fighting with one another. Well, Teemu wants another round of it as he's got him closer to him once again, but seems to be lacking pace through the carousel as it falls away to nearly half a second. He'll feel the slipstream down through the kink and the Kettle Bottoms, but is it close enough?
Well, we'll see. Great to see Teemu Vascalampi back on form. Really, really good. And Gernot Friesche as well. It just shows you, Joe, with a good qualifying performance, which Gernot did have a top 5 in qualifying, showing that he can run at the front. It's just been the missing piece in the jigsaw for him this season. Oh, that's a big one. Oh, stop.
Did he actually touch the wall there?
Yeah. I think so.
Now that
just
was Peter
take it back to the pit and crack a cold war, Steiner. I think it's just...
Yeah, and they don't have any front wing clips in these cars in these days, so not going to be a quick fix. Here's the replay of what happened. Just got a great run. Now, who was he fighting with here? This was with Prix, actually. Just locked him up.
Quite a heavy hit there as well into the tyre wall. That will have given him some front wing damage for sure. So here goes Timo Vascalampi down towards turn 5. The best opportunity on the circuit. He pulls out of the draft nice and early, goes hard in on the brakes. Gernot Fritzsche sees him coming, gives him plenty of room and tucks in behind. That's just an immaculate move there from Timo Vascalampi.
Textbook overtake from the number 6 machine. So that gives us a chance to see if anything is going to change. De Turk, by the end of this race, is going to be able to describe in detail the back of that 9's wing.
Yeah, he'll know every last little bit of it, won't he, for sure. He's saying, of course, we know what Ligier is, but Gaetaniers, I think they're cigarettes. So maybe Michael's going, no, I prefer vermouth. That's my vice. I prefer a martini, shaken, not stirred.
Oh, down and out of the kink. It looks like a good launch from De Turk as we once again look at Fritzsche. He's not going to be able to retake that position, but neither will De Turk, even though he gets within about a car length under braking. Now, I mentioned Hankel behind them. Let me look at the lap times here. 52.5, 52.5 for Hankel. 52.5, 52.4 for De Turk. So yeah, he's not quite pulling them in. In fact, they're very evenly matched.
This is interesting now. Fastest lap of the race for Andy T, 151.698. However, if anything, it looks like Simone has pulled away. Very strange.
0.5 of a second between them. It was up to 0.9 before. So I think T has closed it down. Not by big margins. We're down to 7 laps to go, though. I mean, he's going to have to get within attacking range soon. Last time, it took him a long time to really make a pass stick, Peter. So I feel like 7 laps is still going to be a bit of a tight fit for him.
Certainly is. I mean, he took 2.5 tenths out of Simone last time by. Let's see what if he can repeat that on this lap, then it's very much game on, because then he's really into the kind of draft range where it's possible to put together and construct a move down into turn 5, or maybe we might even see him throw a surprise into turn 1. He nearly pulled it off early on in the race, but it's high risk, high reward, shall we say.
Absolutely. And into the kettle bottoms. T now is when he looks like he's lost a little bit of time comparatively to Tomas Simone. Let's see if he can get close enough to start to pull the slipstream down the front stretch, and then that will give us an absolute marker of what they were at the line. Through Bill Mitchell Bend, we ride over the shoulder of Andy T, looking up at the number 2 and current reigning champion Tomas Simone. So they get ready to set another lap. He's starting to weave again. He doesn't like Andy T being able to use that advantage. This time, Simone with a 51.5, T with another 51.5. T, though, 4/100ths quicker.
Wow, this is what we love to see here in the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. We're in the time attack part of the race now. Fuel load is coming right down. The car is nice and light and on its really up on its toes now. And it's this is when we see some really special lap times going on. Believe it or not. Oh, go on.
Here on screen, look at this. De Turk has his best run he's had the entire race. Tolinen is to his inside as they come down to the braking. Look at the speed that De Turk is able to get. Who would have thought that over Yuka? Down into the braking zone, the long way around. He is finally going to get that done. De Turk gets himself into 6th.
Oh, a bit of a lockup up ahead. That would have been Seppa going into underneath the Corvette bridge, but brilliant battle here between De Turk and Tolinen. Tolinen gone back a place here. De Turk really on the charge in this beautiful dark green Essex Martini machine. Really special. Now, we see these amazing lap times going on from Thomas Simone and Andy T. But would you believe, Joe, that Level 5 Motorsports built a D-Sports racer to do the runoffs here about 10 years ago that did a 148 in the hands of Colin Brown?
Oh, jeez. Oh, we had an off with Suarez, and Trangarade also fell victim to him returning to the track. If we get a replay of this, there is Trangarade coming back on. Now, the ironic thing is Suarez did pretty close to what Trangarade did. There's Suarez. You're going to see his spin first. It's in the exact same spot that Uwe had his incident.
Oh, just touched the grass and no more. But where does Oh, what a shame for Uwe Trangarade. I think you are so committed there going into the carousel. We'll get a good look at it here. Yeah, so the car's off, and oh no, that's not what you need. Oh, ironically, if the car had stayed there, he could have tucked underneath.
Yeah, so that
cost him maybe.
Yeah, that cost them both time, and they're in 13th and 14th each with Trangarade down a spot. Suarez actually still up one from where he began this race. These two have swapped their starting positions. Tomas from second to first, T from first to second. 5 laps to go now, and T looks a little bit stuck. He's hovering at about 8 to 7 tenths behind Tomas Simone.
We're at a critical point now. If Thomas Simone can pull out another quick lap, he was a 10th quicker than T the last time by. If he can do the same again, it actually gets easier for him. The bigger the gap is, the easier it gets, because Andy T then doesn't have the slipstream to be able to catch up. So this is, I mean, these guys are absolutely on the ragged edge of the limit. You know, both 151.3 and 0.4 last time by, which is about a second quicker than Michael de Turk and Severi Seppa in 5th and 6th. Gives you an idea just how special those front two are.
I'm actually kind of impressed that everybody has stayed as close as they have to Simone and T and the pace that they tend to run. And we've once again looked at Gernot Frische in 4th, briefly held a podium position. He's been the one trying to get himself in contention here in the championship, but just hasn't been seeing the results that he wants yet to take a victory so far this season. He's close down the front stretch, but Vascaloppi will hold him at arm's length.
Thomas Simone, our race leader, is turning the screw right now. 0.2 of a second quicker than Andy T on that last lap. 151.1. That is outrageous speed.
And Tolinen managed to get side by side with de Turk into the first corner, but couldn't make it stick. This has slowed him up a little bit. Hankel has the opportunity he's been looking for. The gap has been closed, and it is now a battle for 7th instead of 6th.
Well, and we have got Andreas Henkel on the case there as well in the Parmalat Brabham. Remember, they're the team's championship leader at the moment, and once again it's another solid day for the Parmalat Brabham team. We have Gernot Frische in 4th and Andreas Henkel in 8th at the moment, so another strong bag of points for them if they finish where they are. Round the carousel we go with 3 cars duking around. Look at all the different lines they use through there as well. Fantastic.
I love that this car kind of loans itself to drivers interpreting it as suits them. Down through the kink. Yeah, this is looking great for Tolinen. And de Turk knows it. He'll pick the right-hand side of the track, which will be the inside into Canada corner. Who's the latest on the brakes, but safe enough? It looks like de Turk. Is there enough of an overlap? No. Tolinen backs out of it into Bill Mitchell Bend.
Michael de Turk saying, who do you think you are, Robin Liddell? You can't go around the outside at that corner. Don't be ridiculous. Oh, big wiggle there. Big wiggle. That's going to give Tolinen the run. Surely they're in the train now. Tolinen pops out of the draft side by side down the front straight as well, and I fear that Henkel will be able to pick the pocket as well down towards turn 1. We know that Tolinen's got a bit of a dragster. Can he hang on into turn 1? Hang on. Oh, goodness me, can he get it sealed up just about? But is there an opportunity for de Turk to go back again on the brakes? No, we'll have to wait again till turn 5.
There was almost an opportunity for Hankel, but he got chopped off. De Turk was so focused ahead, he moved across his front wing So I'm not sure if we'll see another attempt down into turn 5. Maybe. Turk's starting to pull him in. He's going to look all the way to the inside, but now he drifts back across. Oh, but too deep onto it. Tolinen just sends it in and finds that the car won't grip. Coming off the corner, he starts to pull back ahead, gives some space through turn 6. The Turk still can't make it stick.
Just a little lock up there for Jukka Tolinen, but he caught it in just enough time. And look at that Henkel up the inside of the Turk now as well. That was not in the script. Oh, the power on oversteer with these cars. This is special. Are you watching Formula One management, whoever you are at the moment? This is what a Formula One car should handle like.
And I would think with those huge rear wheels, it's understandable how much oversteer they have. He's not given up on it. Henkel, though, up from 11th on the grid to 7th, one of our hardest chargers in the grid, 5 spots from where he began this thing. He can't quite get it on Tolinen, and he's also starting to use up his rubber as he slides out of Canada corner.
Back at the front, only 0.02 of a second difference in lap time last time by for our leaders. But just as they go over the stripe once more, Thomas Simone, 151.1, pulls another 0.2 out, and that gap is up to 1.1 seconds, 2 laps to go. Thomas Simone, well, we know that Thomas Simone and Andy T are in their own exclusive club, but Thomas Simone has found yet another gear. Where from? I had no idea. Oh!
I think the Turk needs to back it off a little bit. That car does not look steady, and it hasn't for a number of corners recently. In fact, this might be the worst time for that to happen to him because Henkel has gotten a run on Tolinen. If he could have been closer, well, as this is Frisha and Vascalampi going side by side. Frisha gets to the inside into turn 6. Is he going to be able to complete the pass, though? It switches back to the right-hand side, and despite giving some space, yes, indeed, he'll be able to claim that podium position.
Well, there's two guys that race wheel to wheel with one another all the time, know each other inside out. Brilliant motorsport from Gernot Frisha and Teemu Vascalampi. Two stalwarts of the series, Joe.
Well, from what we've seen, Vascalampi doesn't like to sit down and take that. He'll try to fight back, and he's going to get a good chance. He was much better coming through the kink, and in fact, he's got the inside line. Can he finish this one up? He's in there very, very deep. Almost looked a little bit like Frisha rolled over.
I think they're having a whale of a time right now. These guys just passing each other back and forth all the time. I think they've maybe got to be careful about Severi Seppa back in 5th. He might be able, we're going on the final lap, he might just have the time, but maybe trying to make sure that any moves that are pulled are clean. So Gernot Frisha will have to do it again here as we go into the final lap, and it's Thomas Simone 151.0. Absolutely extraordinary. Will we break the one? We get a 150 on the last lap. We'll see.
By the way, we've had our second retirement of a train grade. I'm not sure what caused it. Has left the session, unfortunately. So we're down to 17 drivers left, and this has been one of the best fights we've had here at the end. This one between Henkel and Tolinen and Frisha and Vascalampi also giving us a lot of fun today. Down into turn 5. This is a great run for Henkel. Is Andreas going to have anything for him? He's around the outside, down into the corner. No, there's not enough grip out there. And look at that. De Turk, once again, just fishtailing through the corner.
Brilliant stuff from these guys as well at the moment in the favour of Tolinen. But Henkel, the man, really on the charge. But Thomas Simone, what can you say about this driver here? Absolutely exceptional performance. Andy T asked the most stern of questions of him, but he had the answer for each and every one, and it's just rocketed out a succession of low 1 minute 51s, just that little tiny bit per lap quicker than Andy T, but absolutely first class stuff. Some of the best you'll see anywhere in sim racing.
Now, here's the thing. That fastest lap is worth 2 more bonus points. So T is going to want that to try and keep Simone from getting as good of a points haul as he can over him. And as he crosses the line, Simone is going to take victory And he sets his personal best. What about T? He does not, so Simone right now holds the fastest lap bonus.
Wow, what a last just section. Made the last 5 laps from Tamara Simone, qualifiers, one after the other. And it's going to be Tolanen from Henkel from the Turk for that little battle for 6th place. Superb stuff. And Vasca Lampi gets on the podium.
Some incredible stuff all the way through the field. So many battles were separated by nothing all the way to the end. But it looks like the last of them are trickling through. And I believe Konecki will be the final one remaining on the lead lap. You can see the damage that he got from the incident we saw has cost him a lot of time. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12-Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Road America. This was a fantastic race with tons of intense battles, including for the lead between Tomas Simone and Andy T. But it was Simone who came away with the victory. T just started to drop off at the end, didn't seem to have anything left in the car for those remaining laps, and it was 2 seconds between them. Then you have to go back a whole 11 seconds to get to third place, where Vasca Lampi was just barely ahead of Frisha at the line to take the final podium step. Severi Seppa came home in the top 5. Jukka Tolanen in 6, with Andreas Henkel in P7, and Michael de Turk having to manhandle that car the remaining laps in 8th. Alessandro Parigi finished 9th, with Fabrizio Massani in 10th.
Finishing in 11th today was Timothy Reed, followed by Miguel Alcalde, Pablo Suarez, Barry West, and Antti Kernan, rounding out your top 15. Peter Konecki was the last driver on the lead lap, with Laus Olsen, Ovi Trengerade, and Julian Martinez Pastor not making the finish.
And we've got our third place finisher ready to talk to us. Timu, it looked like you and Gernot were having a bit of a back and forth for at least the last half of the race. It looked to us that it was still surprisingly hard to make overtakes stick. What did it feel like from in the cockpit?
Yeah, I guess it is quite hard still. I think our setups were, our top speed was very similar, and setups otherwise, and our speed was very similar. I mean pace. So yeah, it was great fun for sure. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
So this has been a partial season for you, but we've seen you definitely at least sticking around the top group, getting some podiums in. At what stage, or is there a track that you see that maybe you could try and keep up with T and Simone? Because those two today looked like they were in a class of their own.
Yeah, I was surprised I was able to keep up with them for a while. Of course, draft helps here, but I had very little laps done this week. Last time I haven't basically been driving since Thursday. But I'm not sure if I can do next week actually. So that's really bad. If I can't, then I can't get point from 8 weeks. But I kind of Interlagos has been usually quite good for me, so we will see how that goes.
Well, that takes away my next question that I was going to ask. It's a bit sad that we won't see you out at Long Beach. Regardless, what are your thoughts about how the car has been ever since some of the tire updates? I know they've been kind of fiddling away at iRacing to try and make it as good as possible, and some drivers have had some complaints. Do you like how it is right now?
Not really. There's some big problems with the tire at the moment for sure. One, that we basically must use maximum tire pressure, so it's just there's no point usually use anything less. It's just not faster. It's way more difficult to drive, sometimes even impossible. There are good things, but the tire still needs tuning. It's not very good.
It sounds like
opinion.
Gotcha. It sounds like it definitely needs to remain a work in progress for the time being. Well, congratulations on a podium, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you next week. But if not, we look forward to later this season.
Thanks. Bye.
That was Timo Vascalampi finishing third today. Up next, second place, Andy T. and Peter was with him.
Andy, welcome to the GSRC commentary box. That was an exceptional race for us to watch there. The pace looked absolutely electric. Was that what you were expecting?
To be honest, yeah. I expect Tamas to be right up there and me to be there or thereabouts. It's just a shame it's only ever us two racing. People need to step up, man.
I'm sure they're trying their best. I'm sure. I mean, tell us about the last portion of the race, Andy, because it just seemed that Tamas found an extra gear there. Was the tyre starting to go off by that point, or did he just have that in hand, do you think?
Yeah, I just think he had the pace on me today. To clarify, by the way, these tyres do not fall off, at all. You can run them for God knows how many laps and you'll be absolutely fine. Yeah, tyre wear never a problem. The issue is overheating them for a brief period, because we're running max pressures right now. And it's basically the only way to avoid ridiculous snap oversteer out of nowhere. The tyre's a volcano, so if you put too much throttle in on corner exit, you massively overheat them, and then if there's another corner within the next few seconds, good luck making it through. It's, yeah, awful.
Explains so many crashes that I've had. I feel so much better now. I've got a great excuse lined up as well. Whether it's applicable to all my crashes, I don't know. But it's been a brilliant season for you, Andy. Although Tamas just had the edge today, still looking good for the championship. Your thoughts on that heading into the last couple of rounds?
I mean, I have a 3-point lead. It's in my hands. I just need to beat the fast Hungarian guy. That's really easy, right? Yep, no problem.
It's as easy as that. It's as easy as that. Before we let you go, Andy, anyone you'd like to give a shout to?
Oh, it's tough out there. Just thanks to everyone who helps me out. Yeah, it's hard racing against Tamas. Mentally draining to fight this guy. He's so quick, so quick.
Well, we're selfishly enjoying watching you guys battle it out every week, and hopefully it rolls on to the end of the season. Well done on a second place finish today, Andy, and see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Great work on the broadcast as always.
That was second place finisher Andy T, which will close out our interviews for this afternoon. So we want to give a big thank you to the Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. We also want to thank the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Peter, Ryan, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com or simply check out our social media. We've got our outlets listed at the bottom of the screen. And if you'd like to support us, check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We got a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment, because next week we'll be at Long Beach. That'll be Sunday, May 30th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. And in just a few moments' time, the Absolute Beginners League will be at Hockenheim. That begins at 2 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.